Welcome to the Leadership Skill Sessions, where we tackle real workplace questions with expert insights, practical strategies, and honest conversations. I'm Desiree Musselman, a certified leadership coach and trainer, and together we'll learn how to respond, not just react, to workplace stress, inspiring others, and lead with strategy and purpose. Let's check out our topic for today.
So today's question is one I get a lot. I hear it a lot when working with leaders. There was an account lead who recently posted a question on Glassdoor, and it really is around how do we deal with those emotionally exhausting employees? You know, the ones that push back on everything. They don't play well with others. They feel like their way is always right. No one else's is ever right. How do we deal with that situation? That leader really wants to know how to be supportive of this employee and still know when to draw the line with them and kind of help encourage them to not be this exhausting, emotional drainer for the team. I'm gonna give you some background information that they gave us that led to this question. And the first thing that they're really talking about is just that. They feel that one of their best employees is emotionally exhausting for the whole team. The second piece that they're running into with this employee is that they tend to take feedback as a personal attack. So no matter how well they're cushioning that feedback, this person is just getting super defensive, very antagonistic whenever they are provided with anything, like any constructive feedback or positive feedback, even from what I was reading. And then the last piece is that they really get defensive in meetings. And this is where it's affecting the whole team. So all of those pieces come together. And this is where the leader is really, really feeling like, I want to be supportive for this person. How do I know? Like, when is supportive not supportive anymore? When do I know when to draw that line and really pull that person back? So, as always, we're going to break this down. We're going to look at each one of these points individually and answer the question. So the first point, that one of their best employees is emotionally exhausting for the whole team. As a coach, the question that I would ask of this leader is, and this is probably going to be a hard question for them, is how accurate is it that this person is really their best employee? Sales, I see it a lot in, where we have somebody who's hitting all the KPIs and they're doing everything that they on paper need to do. They don't get along well with others. They are not collaborative. They're not team players. They get super competitive about things. And it starts becoming almost like a defense mechanism for them. How well they're doing in different things allows them to kind of skate by. And I've seen a lot of leaders allow that to happen, mainly because this is their best employee, right? They are hitting the numbers that they're supposed to be, or any of the KPIs they're supposed to be. And a lot of it has to do with this one person. So they try to make that person happy. Therefore, they don't hold them accountable, which really doesn't do them or the team or the leader any favors. I would really invite that leader to take a look in and go, why do I feel this is my best employee? And what makes up a best employee for me? Because whatever you're saying makes this employee the best employee is probably making the rest of the team feel like they're left out and not taken care of. There is definitely two sides to the coin. It's also, what example are you setting as a leader by allowing this behavior to continue and calling this person your best employee? So really looking into that, how do I want the culture in my team to be? Like, what do I want it to look like? And how am I supporting that? Like, is this hitting it for everybody? And I'm guessing because they're asking the question, right? How to be supportive and still know when to draw the line, that they're already feeling that pressure, feeling like something is not how it's supposed to be. It's not how they want their team to function. So when you think of Like going back to their nutshell piece of one of their best employees is emotionally exhausting for the whole team. They're probably not your best employee though. So really looking into that and figuring out why you feel this is the best employee and what you want those employees and that team culture to actually be. The second point was about taking feedback as a personal attack. So this employee is taking that feedback. Any type of feedback is a personal attack. So my question to the leader would be, when you are providing feedback, what emotional state are you in? Oftentimes, especially in situations like this, where you're feeling like it is one of your best employees and they're not going to take the feedback well, we often either wait to give that feedback until we have to, we don't have a choice and we're now being pushed and forced into it, or we do it in such a way where we're kind of walking on eggshells around the person. Now, if you've got somebody who is already in defense mode and they're definitely working with their fight or flight, they're emotionally hijacked, there's something behind this that's causing this. When you give feedback and you do it in either a non-committal way or you do it in a doubling down harsh way, they're absolutely, even positive feedback, going to take it as a personal attack. What we tend to not realize is that when employees or anybody acts out in the way that this leader is describing this employee, it's not because they're a jerk. It's not because they are consistently trying to hurt somebody else or upset someone else or push back on what's going on. This behavior usually stems from them feeling like something's not sitting well for them. They have some sort of red flag that has kicked their brain into overdrive that is causing them to feel like they have to defend themselves. And not just when there's feedback. They're not feeling heard, they're not feeling supported in some way. They don't trust the people around them. So when we as humans take in information, this is the unfortunate part of how our brain works and our operating system. It is very outdated. We need upgrades. We focus on everything as being good or bad, right or wrong, really safe or unsafe. So if they have already built up an idea that the team is unsafe, you as a leader are unsafe, feedback is unsafe, it doesn't really matter how you come at this, they're going to see it that way. And we often forget as leaders, we're not dealing with a behavior or an employee, we're dealing with a person. We're dealing with a person whose operating system is constantly looking for things to either blame other people on or blame ourselves on to make us feel safe. And that piece really has to be taken into consideration when we're looking at everything holistically. So if they're taking feedback as a personal attack, the reason I'm asking, when you are providing feedback, what emotional state are you in? You could be triggering their unsafe feeling. And that doesn't mean you can control that. You can't. They're going to feel that way. But if you go in feeling unsafe yourself, you're going to just double down and make them feel even more unsafe. If you stay curious and really say, hey, this is what I'm seeing, here's the facts of the situation, what's going on for you? Like, where is this coming from? It's going to go a lot further with that curiosity than it does with you providing your feelings or your feedback. It's really staying curious and seeing how you can support them. The last point was that they're getting defensive in meetings. And this kind of falls under the same as the feedback. But the question that I would ask here is how are your meetings structured? Oftentimes we get super busy, so we don't do any prep. And oftentimes we're thinking, well, okay, we have to have an agenda and we have to have like meeting minutes and we need to have like a set strategic goal of everything we want to hit. And that stuff is great, but it's not going to actually help you build camaraderie and safety in the meeting. What does help build that is by giving everybody roles and setting clear expectations of what and how everyone is supposed to behave in those meetings. So this would be where you lay it out in the very beginning of this meeting and go, hey, this is brainstorming. There's no bad ideas. I want all of you to look for the 10% that you really like, not the 90% that you think is wrong or will go bad. And I want you to build on that. That piece can go a long way for building trust, because now they understand their roles are not to shut everybody down, but to actually build on each other's ideas and look for those things that they like. That is going to build trust within a team. If you're not brainstorming and you're just having a standard meeting and everybody's maybe sharing what is going on, like it's an alignment meeting, that's where you set it up and you really tell everybody, these are who are going to be sharing. This is how long you have to share. When you share, I want you to think about how it affects everybody else in the room. And as you ask questions of the person that's sharing for the rest of you, we want you to be supportive and thought-provoking, not doubling down on saying something won't work or why something won't work. We want solutions in here. That, it seems like such a simple thing to say and that everybody should know that, yet really think about your meetings. Do people know those things? Are they thinking about it, or are they getting emotionally hijacked by somebody's doing something that's going to affect my team and it's going to be bad? I need to stop it right now because this is not good. Those are the things you need to think about when you're structuring your meetings, because I guarantee it's not just this employee that's getting defensive in meetings. It's probably the rest of the team too. So thinking about those 3 points, let's go back to this leader's question of how to be supportive and still know when to draw the line. I would ask this leader when they say, how do I know when and how to be supportive and still know when to draw the line? I would say, how do you define the line? And it goes back to, how do you define your best employee? How do you define your team culture? Because really, the line is up to you. It's not a line that anybody else can draw. And yes, there's HR lines of like, this is completely not acceptable and you don't want to get to that line. Usually that's like excessive. If you're getting into the HR lines, that's excessive. The lines for a team and for a team culture need to be defined by the team. What is okay, what is not okay. And when you can define that with your team, they will get on board and not walk over that line because they help define it. So if you don't know how to define that line, I guarantee your team does. And the more you can sit down and have frank, open, honest conversations with them around these pieces, and not a blame or shame session or a venting session, but really saying, hey, how do you know you overstepped a line? And think about those commonalities when everybody answers that question. The takeaways I'd love for you to receive from this is really, sometimes our idea of support supports us because we're afraid of doing something that we don't feel comfortable with. And we're afraid of the ramifications. When we have a best employee that is acting out or has a challenge and we're not sure how to fix it, oftentimes we just don't. And we hope that that person figures it out on their own, or we hope the team works out, or it just goes away, and it doesn't, it won't. So being curious, getting in the ditch with them a little bit, but not trying to solve the problem for them is going to go a long way. And knowing when to draw the line really has to do with, where's your team? What is the team culture you're looking for? Where's the line for them? Where's the line for you, really? Because I guarantee if you're posting a question like this on Glassdoor, you've already passed that line. So it's really up to you as a leader to figure those pieces out and come at it authentically. And that's the only way you're going to really know how to be supportive that supports you and your team, and when to draw that line.
Thanks for exploring this topic with us today. If you like the discussion, tap the like and don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more discussions and questions to help you find your unique leadership.